Our preliminary task was an under a minute short of a girl's reaction to finding out she was cheated on. In the short, we optimised a variety of shots and used a non-diegetic soundtrack in order to create tension. However, a lot of the film was shaky and out of focus, and there was also unnecessary background noise present in a lot of shots. When creating our final product, we aimed to overcome these barriers that we had found in the preliminary. In comparison to the slap, the planning process we executed this time round was a lot more vigorous in terms of the research we did on both the target audience and the genre. We completed research into genre and opening sequence conventions by watching successful thriller opening sequences such as Shutter Island and Seven. We then clarified what it was about the opening that made it successful, both as an opening sequence and as a thriller. We further tried to incorporate these methods into our own opening sequence. In addition, we used surveys in order to research our target audience. The surveys gave us a greater understanding of what appeals to the audience of our choice and allowed us to base later decisions with regards to mise-en-scène, location, age of actors and other important details around what we believed our audience wanted to see. This all contrasts with the planning we completed for our preliminary task. The planning we did then consisted merely of a storyboard and shot list and had no regards of the genre or audience. Technologies also improved the quality of this piece. In our preliminary task, we simply used Movie Maker to edit our footage. However, this limited our editing capabilities in terms of effects and filters. As a result of this, we chose to utilize Final Cut Pro instead in the editing of our opening sequence. In addition, we had to use tripods more in the shooting of our opening sequence. However, we found that some of the tripods were faulty and therefore restricted our filming. Undeterred by this, we were still able to try and use them as steady base for some scenes. Despite tripods being faulty, we still managed to utilize them better than we had in our preliminary task, where we had little knowledge on how to use one. As a result of this, footage from the preliminary task was exceedingly shaky, and paired with background noise, it gave the preliminary a distinctly unprofessional quality. Furthermore, our editing skills were also enhanced from the preliminary and final cut stages. The sound of our preliminary task was additionally another major setback in the overall professionalism of the piece. The sound was out of time with action, the fades were obvious and amateur, and there was a great deal of background noise present. Taking this on board in the production and editing of our opening sequence, we focused on sound as a key area. We searched more vigorously for a suitable soundtrack for the first scene of the opening sequence, and utilised sound effects in order to create successful flashbacks within the second scene. Evidence from our audience feedback suggests we were successful in doing so, as 100% of our surveyors found the soundtrack effective, and 67% said it made them feel scared or nervous, with the remaining 33% feeling sad. In addition, we filmed with a wider variety of angles. This enabled us to have more footage to select from when it came to creating our final cut. However, in earlier rough cuts, it is evident how the extra footage became a problem, as we felt that we did not want to delete what we deemed as good footage, even if it was irrelevant to the piece. This slowed the pace of earlier cuts a lot more and made them drag out and go into detail, which opposed the genre and opening sequence conventions we were aiming for. However, once we overcame our fear of deleting our work, we were able to cut it down to effective necessary shots while still using a range of camera angles. And in later audience feedback conducted on Poll Daddy, 91% of our surveyors thought that opening shot was effective, suggesting we were successful with this. Moreover, another advance in our editing skills was evident in the use of filters to add ambience to the scenes. For example, we felt the mise-en-scène of the interrogation scene was weak as the result of the interior design of the room. We felt that this ruined the earlier low-key and creepy atmosphere we had created. As a result of this, we tried a range of different filters in order to make the lighting of the scene more low-key, further allowing it to fit more with the genre conventions we were trying to execute. Through the process of creating a thriller opening sequence, I have learned about the important genre conventions of thrillers, such as the level of lighting, the type of music, the characteristics of actors, all necessary in making it appeal to one genre and to the target audience of my choice. In addition, I have learned about the conventions of an opening sequence, popular within the opening sequences for creating intrigue and persuading the audience to watch on. If I had another opportunity to create a thriller opening sequence, I would produce more in-depth planning to maximise the mise-en-scène opportunities that would attract my target audience and keep these conventions consistent throughout the opening sequence. In our thriller opening sequence, the audience is given hints to the storyline, and they form a suspicion that the teenage boy is the murderer, which is not true, but was the effect we were aiming for. 82% of our surveyors stated that they felt suspicion towards the teenage boy, and 90% said they felt sympathy for the girl. Therefore, I feel we were successful in portraying our protagonists and antagonists with the characteristics we wanted them to have, and I feel like next time we could expand on both character and story as aspects of the opening sequence.